Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly run through what you're expected to do for lesson 4. Now, in lesson 4, what we're doing is we're still using chapter 4 of The Bad Beginning, but this time we're going to be practicing the skill of inference. So today we're going to be inferring the thoughts and the feelings of a particular character in this chapter. Now, the skills we need in order to do this is we're going to have to identify the relevant part of the chapter that's going to help us answer this question. What we also are going to think about is we're going to think about something called authorial intent. That is the words that the author uses in order to make us think in a particular way. And that will make more sense in a moment. We're also looking at the action and the dialogue of that character and how that helps us develop an opinion about that particular character. And we're going to be using all this and applying it to answer the question. So, what is inference? What does it mean to be inferring feelings and thoughts of a character? Well, when you read, you come across deliberately placed clues that enable you to form opinions about characters. These clues can be in the way the character does something, the way it says something, the way he or she moves or even looks. And that's one of the amazing things of being a writer, is that you can actually lead your reader down a path just by using language. Now here's an example. This is part of the chapter towards the end, and you may have actually used this part of the chapter yesterday when you were doing your little graffiti wall about Count Olaf. That money, Klaus said, remembering what Mr. Poe said, is not to be used until Violet is of age. Count Olaf's face grew very red. For a moment he said nothing. Then, in one sudden movement, he reached down and struck Klaus across the face. Klaus fell to the floor, his face inches from the eye tattooed on Olaf's ankle. His glasses leaped from his face and skittered into a corner. Right, so let's think about Count Olaf here. What can we infer by Count Olaf's actions? Because he doesn't actually say anything, so there's no dialogue from Count Olaf. There is from Klaus, but not from Count Olaf. What can we infer? Right, well, his face grew very red. Generally, when you go red, you could be embarrassed, but he's definitely not embarrassed here, because after his face goes red, he actually slaps Klaus across the face. So that makes us think he's angry. He's angry at Klaus. Now, why could he be angry? What has Klaus said to make him angry? Well, Klaus mentions the money. So I can infer that Count Olaf is only interested in the money and not the orphans, because he hits Klaus after Klaus mentions the inheritance. So we can infer that. Now, at no point does the author say, Count Olaf is angry, he is after the orphans' money. It's not said, it's inferred, and it's a little image that the author wants to put into our minds. So let's look at what we're expected to do in today's task. Now, in today's task, we're looking at this passage. Justice Strauss smiled at the 3 children, but her eyes were sad. She reached out a hand and put it on Violet's hair, and Violet felt more comforted than she had in some time. That won't be necessary, Justice Strauss said. You're always welcome in my home. Then she turned and went into her home, and after a moment of staring after her, the Baudelaire orphans went into theirs. Now, here is our question of today. How does Justice Strauss feel about the orphans? Now, in this little passage alone, we get a lot of information. She smiles at them. So what could that mean? Her eyes are sad, though. So how do you smile at someone, but your eyes are sad? Well, maybe she's trying to comfort them and smile at them, but inside, she actually feels sad and sorry for the orphans. She reaches out a hand, doesn't she? And she puts it on Violet's hair. What does that mean? What do you think she's trying to portray? Or how's she trying to make Violet feel? She also uses dialogue. She says, that won't be necessary. You're always welcome in my home. And again, why does she say that? What is she trying to put across to the orphans? So how does she feel about the orphans? She smiles at them. Her eyes are sad. She touches Violet's hair and strokes it. And she also says, you're always welcome. Now, in order to answer this question, we're going to make sure we use PEE. And for those of you who can't remember what PEE stands for, it's you make your point, you back it up with evidence, and you give further explanation. Here are some sentence starters that you may or may not wish to use. We don't want you to have to follow these because sometimes you can write without having a structure in place. However, sometimes it does help to have these sentence starters to help organise your thoughts. So when you make your point, you might want to start with, I think Justice Strauss feels, now what do you want to say there? Feels what? Sorry for the children? Sad for the children? You then have to find the evidence in the text. Now, I've shown you one tiny bit of evidence in the text. However, you may wish to flick through the whole of that chapter to find some more, because at the beginning of that chapter, she actually takes some shopping, doesn't she? There might be something there that you may wish to use. So I know this because, and then we'd like you to explain in further detail. So it might say something in the text. She reaches down and, because in the text she reaches down and touches Violet's hair. But what does that show? What does that show about Justice Strauss? Is she a sympathetic character? Is she being mean? Is she being kind? Is she being caring? Have a think. Now, the gold challenge, what we want you to do there is, rather than just using the evidence in chapter 4, there might be some evidence of how Justice Strauss feels about the orphans in previous chapters, in chapter 3 when they first arrive. So have a go at doing that. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing your answers. Bye!